17 News at noon begins with breaking news.
And good afternoon. We do begin with breaking news out of Washington. The Trump administration just announced about 30 minutes ago that the Federal Aviation Administration will issue an emergency order to ground all Boeing 737 MAX 8 and MAX 9 jets. This emergency order comes after the Ethiopian Airlines crash on Sunday and the Lion Air accident in October, killing 346 people in both crashes. The European Union, China, and Iraq and other airlines such as Aeromexico also banned flights of the Boeing MAX 8 and MAX 9 pending safety assurances. President Trump tweeted about the concerns yesterday, saying in part airplanes are becoming far too complex to fly, split-second decisions are needed, and the complexity creates dangers. Of course, we'll continue to follow this breaking news story and bring you the latest tonight on 17 News at 5. More breaking news as weather cancels nearly 1,300 flights at the Denver airport today. A blizzard warning is up from northern Colorado with wind gusts of 80 miles an hour recorded there. And powerful storms ripped through North Texas early this morning. Widespread reports of damage started coming in as the storms blew through. Heavy winds ripped the roof off a cargo facility near the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. You can see the twisted metal and debris on from the building in the parking lot, along with several damaged cars. Some of the heaviest gusts were felt at the Grand Prairie Municipal Airport, with the heaviest gusts clocking in at 108 miles an hour. There was also heavy damage to hangars and several planes flipped over at a regional airport. Flights out of Bakersfield to Dallas took off this morning without delay. And we also have it was a frightening moment this morning for a lot of students on their way to school after a car crashed into a bus. It all happened in downtown Bakersfield on 17th Street and Chester Avenue around 8:30 this morning. The Highway Patrol says there were up to 55 students on board when the crash happened. CHP says 11 people were hurt. 7 were taken to the hospital, but all injuries were minor.
The injuries that we're looking at is complaint of pain, mostly to the head. And to the wrist area, because when the school bus went forward, a lot of kids put their hands up to protect themselves, and some of them did receive pain to the wrist.
The bus was taking students to Franklin Elementary School. That's part of the Bakersfield City School District. CHP says many parents came to the scene to take their kids home. And new details about that death investigation about the man who was found dead inside the same home where police unearthed the body of a newborn baby. The home is on Shining Crag Avenue, just off of Stein Road in southwest Bakersfield. Last week, police said Beyont Dillon drowned her newborn grandson there in November. Her husband, Jagsir Singh, is accused of helping her hide the murder, but posted bail. Police returned to the home last week after reports of a possible suicide, and this morning, the coroner says Singh hanged himself inside that home. Minutes after President Trump's former campaign chair was sentenced for conspiracy, prosecutors in New York announced an indictment against Paul Manafort. Manafort was sentenced to 43 more months as part of a special counsel, Robert Mueller's Russia investigation, and after pleading guilty to crimes related to illegal lobbying before being sentenced, the 69-year-old issued a statement saying in part, "I'm sorry for what I have done." He also accepted responsibility for his actions and stressed he's a changed man. And he asked Judge Amy Berman Jackson not to separate him and his wife, saying, "Please let me be with my wife for us to be together." Manafort was sentenced in a separate case in Virginia last week to 47 months in prison for tax and bank fraud. In total, he will serve 7.5 years in federal prison with credit for 9 months already served. And after his sentencing, Manhattan's district attorney announced 16 additional charges against Manafort. Those charges include mortgage fraud and falsifying business records. At least 8 people were killed at a Brazilian elementary school where 2 young men were seen entering the building and firing weapons earlier today. Police say among the dead were 5 school children, 1 adult who worked at the building, and the 2 adolescent shooters. An unknown number of additional children were also shot at the elementary school and taken to hospitals. The conditions of the wounded is not yet known. School shootings are rare in Brazil, even though the country is one of the world's most violent, with more annual killings than any other. The last major school shooting was in 2011 when 12 children were shot dead in Rio de Janeiro. While gun laws are extremely strict in Brazil, it is difficult to illegally purchase a weapon. It is not difficult to illegally purchase a weapon. Police said that two adolescents wearing face masks entered the building and started shooting. The pair eventually shot and killed themselves. And rescue efforts were underway today in Nigeria after a 3-story school building collapsed while classes were in session. Several dust-covered children were seen being carried out of the rubble. Onlookers crowded around in the densely populated neighborhood in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. Building collapses are all too common in Nigeria, where new construction often goes up without regulatory oversight. A Bakersfield man is one of 5 finalists nominated to receive the 2019 Citizens Medal of Honor from the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. Blaine Hodge very likely and single-handedly saved the life of a Bakersfield woman during a domestic violence incident at the Starbucks on Stockdale Highway. Back in September, you may remember the woman rushed into the coffee shop screaming about a man who was trying to kill her. Seconds later, that man entered the Starbucks armed with a machete and attacked the woman. But Hodge intervened to save the woman and was stabbed in the process. CHP officers arrived and arrested the attacker. Hodge spent several days in the hospital after the ordeal and is still recovering from his wounds. Now Hodge is one of 5 finalists in line to receive the award.
Honestly, it kind of came out of left field. I was really shocked and surprised, more than anything. I'm honestly just really grateful, and I think it's really powerful and important that they're taking the time to kind of celebrate the right things, you know.
The award recipients will be announced on March 25th in Washington, D.C. The finalists are selected from a pool of more than 100 nominees from across the nation for their individual acts of heroism last year. Well, if you love classic cars and motorcycles, this weekend is your chance to cruise down the streets of Bakersfield at Cruisin' for Charity. The 3rd annual event will feature more than 500 cars, trucks, and motorcycles driving down Chester Avenue. It all kicks off tomorrow afternoon with a meet and greet at Buck Owens Crystal Palace. Then on Friday, folks will meet at Salty's Barbecue and Catering on White Lane and cruise to Kern County Raceway Park for a full afternoon and evening of fun. The classic cars will drive through downtown Bakersfield on Saturday and stop in front of the historic Fox Theater for pictures. The event benefits a handful of charities right here in Kern County, including Honor Flight, Wounded Heroes Fund, and the Boys and Girls Club, and that's just to name a few. And the big day in downtown on Saturday means drivers should be prepared for some road closures. They're all happening on and off from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in several areas. The main closures are 17th to 22nd Street between I and K Street and Chester Avenue from 23rd Street to Truxton Avenue. And then Get Bus, well, they'll still have access to the downtown terminal on Chester Avenue all day, and it will go through I Street. Several other closures will be in place. We posted all the details on our website, KGET.com. Boeing's stock right now down about 2 points right now. The S&P 500 is up and NASDAQ is up as well. Meantime, checking oil prices, West Texas Intermediate is at $58.43 right now, and Midway Sunset is at $63.62 a barrel right now.
17 News, your local news leader, continues 24 hours a day on KGET.com and our 17 News app. In the spirit of the Golden Empire, 17 News.